Today, we're going to be talking about how to use your background to create a more dynamic project. That's coming up. Hello, everyone. My name is Daniel Reach. This is Weaver Leather Supply. Today, we're going to be taking a look at how to create a more dynamic project by using the background. Now, most of us, when we think about the background, we think about adding a really heavy texture or maybe something more subtle like a checkered background. But what about using that background to create shadows? By darkening some areas and leaving other areas lighter, we can create the illusion of shadows. So to do that, we're going to be using that Swivel Knife Lion challenge from a few videos back, this one right here. And what we're going to be doing is the first thing we need to establish is where is the light source coming from. And with this one, it makes a lot of sense that he's closing his eyes and looking into the sun, kind of letting it warm him up. So the sun is, the light source is going to be coming from the upper left, which means the shadows are going to be on the lower right. So let's start behind him and go in with a pretty heavy texture. We want this area and the area below his tail to be the darkest. So we're going to go in with a heavier touch and a heavier texture. As I'm working in the texture, I'm going darker right against his back and then fading out the further away from him I get. This is going to let me create that illusion of shadows that we're going for. I'm going to take that shadow all the way up and around his head, but the closer to his face I get, the lighter I'm going to go. I'm going to drop in a few light shadows under his mane, and then I'm going to move to his tail. This area under his tail is going to throw a pretty heavy shadow. So again, I'm going to be a little bit more aggressive here. So one thing I'll mention here is that my first pass is never going to be as dark as my final pass. I'm just roughing in the shadows with that first pass. Then I can go back and I can darken up the areas that I think need to be darker. Then I'm going to drop down under his chin. If that light source is above him, then his chin's going to be throwing a pretty heavy shadow. So obviously this is a little light and hard to see on camera. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to seal it with tan coat and then I'm going to antique it. And that'll allow us to see that texture that we've created a lot easier. So that really helped those shadows pop, and you can really see how much of a difference it can make. Now, one thing I'll mention is that if this were a competition piece and I were really wanting to push it, I would put a lot more time into those shadows to really create something more dynamic. But for a quick little video to show you the technique and how it works, I think that worked pretty well. So that's going to do it for this video. I will see you in the next one. In the meantime, go make something amazing.